That's been a really important message recently.
That's going to be a hard one for people to um, grasp and utilize and carry forward, because we're so wrapped up and consumed in ourself, our parents, our clothes, our diet, our entertainment, or whatever. How are we going to recognize that we're just part of nature in the bees? I mean, what are our thoughts?
The bees are going to help us. That's the other part of the mission. I mean, the bees. So if we go back to the ancient temples, for example, or the ancient mystery schools of Egypt, those were like Eleusis, Demeter, the founder of Eleusis, which went on for thousands of years, a mystery school where people would go, they would fast, they would participate with thousands of people from all over the world. They would fast, journey to the temple, and during a full night ritual they would drink from the kykeon, probably a DMT containing substance drink. We don't know what it was.
They make a honey wine.
Mead is also
mead.
Probably part of it, and then they would participate in this night-long ritual in which they would experience the unity and immortality of the soul, and were freed from all fear of death and attachment to things. So thousands and thousands of people went through this, and they recognized each other, but they did not speak about it. Like Socrates and Plato and Pythagoras, these guys were all participants in these mystery traditions. And Demeter, as well as Aphrodite, Artemis, Isis, Inanna, they were all revered as mother bees or queen bees, the divine feminine. So the bees within that understanding is within the context of looking at the human divine feminine as a bee, is that whole aspect of the one and the many, is the whole, is the unity consciousness is within that. They represent to us, they embody for us unity consciousness. So this is one of the messages. So that sound, who, that actually, the bee said, that is the vibration of social harmony, unity, that sound, and that people making that sound, that can help us enter into that state. So this is why the temple, that's the temple aspect of the sanctuary, is like working with the bees and helping get them healthy, but ultimately the bees aren't even from this planet. I mean, these bees are here and they're from here, but I think,
well, I was wondering that also.
The idea of bees that manifested as bees on this planet has existed in other planes and dimensions and so on, and which is another reason why.
Do you believe that humans are, in the respect of being like a super being, or are humans like bees in that we all are part of one thing, one hive?
Believe is a hard word.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Well, you know what I mean, though. I don't mean believe. But I mean, is it your understanding?
Are so freaking difficult.
Would it be your comprehension, because of what you're just explaining? The bees are trying to teach us something. Is that?
Yes, my curiosity. What they said is that we are on the cusp humans are a very young, what I received from them, humans are a very young species, but we are extremely powerful. We are godlike in a way that they are not. We are godlike because of the power of our consciousness to manifest. They can't do it. They can reflect it, but they can't do it themselves. So even if we revere them as a god, we actually create, just like the worker bees create their queen by producing royal jelly from their glands, we create.
Well, create our reality.
We create our queen, our goddess.
And
And
unfortunately,
we are God.
it looks like man hasn't been doing too good a job of creating lately, huh? We've been creating atom
We're
bombs
doing
and
good. I think we're doing
pollution, and
yeah.
but we need to. Yeah, I think
We just, it's just because of our egos. It's just a stage. It's a stage that we're going through. We have to learn to handle the power of creating consciousness. We have to slay the ego. We have to conquer the ego before we can move into that next state where our power is loosed upon the world. Otherwise, it's a bunch of ego demons running around, you know. And that's basically what's happening. So, interestingly enough, I want to read. Well, I just recently discovered that one of the Sanskrit chants that I've been doing, a hymn to the goddess, is actually refers to a particular Vedic story, epic story about a time period on Earth when the demons are running rampant, and they are driving off and killing the nature spirits and trying to conquer all, like Mother Nature, and subdue the devas of the plants and the animals and control everything. It's basically the ego demons, and it's a very similar time period to now, right? So as this is happening, and the gods try, they have no power over these ego demons, and so they come together as one, and they begin to call on the attributes of the goddess as protector, and as you know, so they call on her they call on her, and eventually their energy streams forth as fire, and Durga manifests. So they manifest the goddess, the gods, through their calling upon her, through their focusing their consciousness on these attributes. And so she goes into battle with the ego demons. Ooh. And at one point she cuts off, I believe this is how the story goes. She cuts off the head of the main demon, and then all of the blood comes out and spurts out, and everywhere a drop of blood lands, another demon arises, you know. So, and that, if you're looking at this from a symbolic perspective, it's like you have one major ego issue, and then you conquer that one, jealousy, but then you look around and you see like all the other things where your will is not, where you want your own way, or you know, you have your ego is creating suffering. And so at that point she manifests Brahmari Devi, and Brahmari Devi is a bee goddess, and she sends forth clouds of black bees that drive away all the armies of the demons, and so restoring harmony and the ability of nature to be free.
And maybe that's simply that cloud of black bees is simply that, something as simple as that frequency of that
It's
humming.
the hum, right? It's the
Yeah.
hum. So that's why I'm going to read you this verse. Hold on.